There's also concern that another area of the economy, housing, might get pushed to the back burner. Our next guest wrote an open letter to President Obama and Governor Romney asking why housing is not front and center of the campaigns. Quote, he says, considering the depth of these debates and the months of political advertisements in this campaign, it's discouraging that there has not been a serious discussion about housing. As leaders, you ignore housing at our peril. RE/MAX chairman and co-founder who wrote that, Dave Liniger, joins us now on the program. Welcome, Mr. Liniger. It's nice to have you on CNBC.
Thank you very much. Nice
so let's cut to the chase. We know that housing is important. People out there know that housing is important. You're asking for two specific things. One of them is that they don't eliminate mortgage interest reductions. They don't eliminate that tax break. Why, in your view, when the country can't afford what it's doing, should there be an entitlement still for those that have mortgages when there isn't an entitlement to tax rebate for renters? Why should renters subsidize mortgage holders?
Well, the tax deduction has been there for over 50 years to encourage home ownership. The problem we've got is we've just gone through the worst 5 years of housing in the history of the United States. If it has to be tinkered with, if we have to change it, we agree, we'd go along with that. But we don't think it should be done in the next year or two, as we're just now getting our feet on the floor and starting to recover.
You know, Dave, a lot of people think that perhaps one of the reasons that housing hasn't come up in a more substantive way in the debates is because neither candidate really knows how to solve it. That the depth of the housing crisis is still with us, although we are recovering slightly, but neither candidate really has a way forward in terms of housing.
There's a possibility that's very true, but in reality, there's two or three things that we could do to ensure housing continues to pick back up. First, the mortgage interest deductibility, we just can't tinker with it for the next year or two. We've got to get our feet on the ground. The second thing is we have a debt forgiveness act that expires December 31st, that if it expires will definitely affect short sales. Short sales are 20% of the market right now.
Mr. Liniger, yesterday 80 CEOs, as we featured on the network, were writing open letters to do with the fiscal cliff, and today you've come through specifically on housing. It worries me when I see people like you having to do this in public, because I'm concerned that in private you have lost the argument, and that's why you have to go through this and show that you are lobbying. Does anybody actually care in private, in the corridors of power, about what you're talking about? I mean, have you had the conversations and just been unable to persuade them?
We have had many conversations with various government leaders. The truth of the matter is it hasn't been addressed because it's a very difficult subject and it's very controversial. The two candidates are trying to get elected, and so they're very careful not to say things that are terribly controversial at this time. Behind the scenes, trust me, everybody in Treasury and housing, everybody is talking about we've got to get housing off the bottom.
Mr. Liniger, thank you for your time. Let's see how that develops. Dave Liniger there, the RE/MAX chairman and, of course, co-founder of that business. Thank you, sir.